For the 5th time in 7 years, the NBA Finals are in Chicago. And for the first time ever, the NBA Finals include the Utah Jazz, coming off that incredible win Thursday night over Houston.
All right, thank you, Jim. And Matt, the other critical question concerning the Bulls, how will they defend Karl Malone? I would think they'll open up with Dennis Rodman for the most part against the mailman.
And Marv, it's the most compelling matchup going into the finals, and these two bring something totally different to the table. Now, Karl Malone has the size and strength advantage to power right through Dennis Rodman. Plus, Malone's perimeter ability can pull Rodman away from the basket where he hates to be. But here's Dennis Rodman doing what he does best, and that's being relentless on the offensive boards. But you know, Dennis Rodman will use every trick in his book to disrupt and distract Karl Malone.
And the other forward, 6'9", from Louisiana Tech, Karl Malone. From Southeast Oklahoma State, Dennis Rodman. The man in the middle. Please join us now in paying tribute to and welcoming the greatest heavyweight champion of all time, Mr. Muhammad Ali.
Game 1 of this best of 7 NBA Final. Rick Ostertag and Luke Longley on the opening tip, and it was controlled by the Bulls.
To where I'm trying to prove something about the MVP. And I love to win, even if I'm not MVP.
Karl Malone, very aggressive offensively. Michael Jordan, the gracious competitor.
Utah's missed its last 6 shots. Longley trying to front Malone, who was able to beat it, but not able to hit. Ostertag with the tip will not count.
Karl Malone has missed some easy shots. They can't get frustrated with that. That happened to him during the road games in the Western Conference. But Utah has been out great in front of every team, every game, with the exception of the Karl Malone 2 for 20 game.
And here's Hornacek getting it down. Russell for 3. Rebounded by Malone. He's been off. 1 of 8 from the field for Karl Malone.
But Karl Malone, he has to find out the defensive range of Luke Longley, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. Here's Karl with a great offensive rebound. Not really sure if Longley can get off the ground.
Utah's missed its last 9 shots, 4 of 18 from the field. Rodman now defending against Malone. Malone, yes, only his 2nd field goal.
Probably one of the reasons why Phil Jackson wanted to keep Rodman off. Has trouble defending in the post against a player like Malone. Dennis is almost better off playing a big guy like Shaquille O'Neal. He just does not play power forwards that well.
Isley gets it out to Malone. Rodman reaching for that rebound. That's his 2nd board. 2 minutes and 42 seconds to go in this first quarter. Look at Malone posting up on Rodman. And for Karl Malone, a rare buck of the postseason. Tony Kukoc from long range. And kept alive as Bushler was able to tap it to Rodman.
And that's just the first second chance opportunity for Chicago, the best offensive rebounding team in the league.
Jordan. And Malone off the box down.
Marv, Utah is controlling their defensive board, something Seattle could not do last year. Karl Malone has brought his MVP game tonight. 11 shot attempts already. That's terrific. You see the numbers going down from in the paint. The team's forcing him to take those jumpers, but it's all come together early. The jumper in Rodman's face early on, and then when the defense collapses, Cutter's always on the move. Easy layup, burning the Bulls defense, and then a shot that Bill Russell couldn't even stop, much less Dennis Rodman.
Great players who have not been able to win a title, and 2 of those players on the court today in the uniform of the Utah Jazz, and John Stockton and Karl Malone. Clock running down. Here's Anderson for 3. And Carr able to get to it. Nice pass from Anderson. Anderson with the center. Shot clock at 7. Down to 3. Malone, yes. Karl Malone has 10 points. It's the Jazz 34 and the Bulls 32.
It used to be, oh, goodness gracious sakes alive.
That's almost a frustration shot because right now, Dennis Rodman having problems guarding Karl Malone. Dennis Rodman just does not close quick enough on Karl Malone. The shot clock is winding down. Karl knows he's going to have to put up a shot, but just by creating space there, gets far enough away from Dennis Rodman, who got a hand up, but way too late.
Stockton got the step by Brian Williams, leading to another Chicago turnover. Rodman gambled. Malone could not take advantage. And Utah getting the help off the bench. 7-0 run by the Jazz. They lead it 39-32. Here's Jordan. Rodman with the tip. Rodman again. And took a poke in the eye.
Take advantage. Karl Malone quickly. Rodman is confused.
Well, the Bulls have been very quiet on the offensive glass so far in this first half, but Dennis Rodman volleyballing the ball to himself a couple of times, but Karl Malone coming in there at the end of the play, catching Dennis Rodman right in the eye.
Well, I like the volleyball. You know, that's coming up in Chicago in 3 weeks here.
That was for you,
The
Bill.
beach volleyball, yes.
And Pippen making his first appearance at the line. He has 5 points. Dennis still trying to shake things off.
Never fun to get an elbow to the face, particularly by a man as big and strong as Karl Malone.
Hornacek got the step. Rodman with the save. Dangerous save, but Longley was able to retrieve. And Greg Ostertag is also back on the floor defending on Rodman. Jordan. Rodman. Terrific ball instincts, and he fires. Dennis a bit encouraged from recent development. Pippen on the loose ball. It's the Jazz 42 and the Bulls 38. Karl Malone 20 minutes, 5 of 14 overall. You see the breakdown in terms of defending against Malone.
Little fadeaway jump shot.
Luke Longley set up by Michael Jordan. Dennis Rodman more and more a factor off the offensive board.
Jordan screening for Rodman. That's what it's come to.
Well, Dennis Rodman looking for the offense. In fact, was a post-up go-to player the last couple of games against the Miami Heat. Then Malone comes out to set the screen. The lead for Malone off the pick and roll.
Well, Utah expects Chicago to send that pick and roll towards the baseline.
Ostertag at 7'2", about 280 pounds. Rodman, air ball.
Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz reopened the wound on his right hand that he suffered a floor burn in the last series against Houston. Now, during the timeout, that wound was attended to by Mike Sheminsky, the trainer of the Utah Jazz.
Utah with 14 turnovers, 6 in this third quarter. Malone with the box out and a high elbow that was avoided by Pippen. Last year came a long way this season. Here's a look at that elbow that was avoided by Pippen. We saw Dennis Rodman take an elbow from Karl Malone. These two guys have been going at each other from time to time during the course of tonight's game. We talked with Karl Malone on what it's like in going up against Dennis Rodman.
I'm not going to get caught up in a Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman situation. I've walked away of situations in my life, and you call everything from a wimp to things you can't say on TV. But that's fine with me. I've worked 12 years to get here. I'm not going to look back when this season, this series is over with, and say to myself, God, I shouldn't have did that. Will I take some elbows and things from Dennis? Absolutely. Will I give some as this series go on? Probably so.
And both players have kept it under control, and both players not getting involved with the official. That's a good sign.
Here's Malone. Karl Malone right back.
That's been the way for the Jazz all playoffs as Karl Malone drills that jumper.
And Longley got a piece of it. Malone with 17, the Jazz 73, and the Bulls 70. It's game one of the best of 7, game 2 here in Chicago on Wednesday. And then the scene will shift to Salt Lake City beginning on Friday night. Hopper for 3. And And a loose ball foul.
Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman getting mixed up there. They're calling a double foul here. They'll jump it up at center court.
And here's Malone.
Or settle for a jump shot. But he is taking, well, off the pick and roll. John Stockton drawing the defense to him, and a little pick and pop for Karl Malone as Luke Longley too slow getting out there. And then once again, Luke Longley too slow to react and challenge that shot by Karl Malone.
75-72.
Same thing. Karl Malone every single time.
Malone again from the outside. Rodman with the rebound. Good box out on Karl. Pippen for three. Jordan gets to the rebound, but a loose ball foul from behind on Rodman. Look at the career playoff numbers of Karl Malone.
Well, you can pencil in that 27 in just about any game that Karl Malone plays, but you would expect the field goal percentage to be a little bit higher, but it's down, I think, because he has become more of a perimeter jump shooter.
Clutch free throw shooting by the NBA's most valuable player, Karl Malone. Can of defense. Malone with the opening. Malone with the drive.
And I guess what set all that up was the fact that he has been making that outside shot, and it sucked Luke Longley right out there so Malone could get the penetration.
Oh! Rebounded by Harper. Pippen for three. Yes! Chicago 81, Utah 79 as we approach 1 minute remaining in the fourth of game one of the best of seven NBA Final Series. Stockton for three. Yes! The Jazz by one, 82-81. And the game is tied at 82.
And Dennis Rodman coming on for Chicago for the defensive sequence, and no doubt to try to help on the backboard.
Michael Jordan missing on the second attempt. The score remains tied at 82.
It's got to be Karl Malone here. This is MVP time.
Well, Malone down at the right baseline being defended by Rodman. Shot clock is down to 5. 15 seconds on the game clock. Stockton setting it up for the three. And Malone with the recovery. And a foul has been called. Looks like a loose ball foul being indicated by Bill Oakes. It's against Chicago. It's on Rodman.
Stockton had to go back towards his own man, forced to take a tough shot. But Dennis Rodman hanging on to that back and pulling on Karl Malone, who just wanted that rebound more than anybody else.
He's 3 of 4 at the line. 23 points, 15 rebounds, 9 and 2/10 seconds to go. Plenty of timeouts remaining. Score is tied. 9 seconds left. Jordan and the Bulls take a timeout with 7 and 5/10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter.
They got Brian Russell on Michael Jordan. Disciplined defense, forced the fadeaway jumper. Don't foul.
Jazz over the foul limit. We're down to 5. Jordan putting moves on Russell. We're down to 2. Now to 1. Here's Jordan.